Well, this bonus episode has been a long time coming. This episode was recorded on the 14th and 15th of December at both the IMC Independent Media Center and the Canopy Club. I interviewed a few people at the Independent Media Center, and then the next night I recorded and interviewed other people over at the Canopy Club for the farewell show. So this is kind of a special bonus episode. We get to say farewell to a record label that has encapsulated a snapshot of the Champaign-Urbana music scene between 2005 and 2018. I guess I just want to say the interviews have been edited. I basically just asked some very simple questions, and it's, what has Heirship Records meant to you? And what has Isaac meant to you, the leader of Heirship Records? I'll be posting the show notes where you can still find Heirship Records releases and be able to stream them. And please take a moment to stream them all and just see what a diverse and amazing segment of our community, our music community, and the scene that this really is. I, for one, feel very fortunate that we have had this opportunity to experience the different parts. And I'm just going to let the interviews speak for themselves and just let it roll. Thank you. This is Champaign is Also a Band podcast. One songwriter, one song. I'm Sven, your host for a journey into the music of Champaign-Urbana. Recorded in the Blue Box studio with a songwriter from the Champaign-Urbana music scene, past or present.
Bergkoetter. I've been in Fireflies, Take Care, Mitten, Staghorn, Bookmobile, Marathon. I'm leaving some out for sure. Knave. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so, what would you say Heirship Records has meant to you?
Man, the point is that they knew that there was a ton of records that needed to be made in the local scene.
Yeah.
There is a need there, and their job is to facilitate that need. You start a label, no intention of making $1, which if you're going to start a label, it's very hard work to turn a profit, but that's not the point. The point is that albums need to be made by the people that are very creative and very interesting in this town, in this community. They kept it local on purpose. It's to prop up all this local talent and help them make records. And we all need these kind of positive enablers, and Isaac and Heirship Records provided that. I mean, we couldn't, we as in Take Care couldn't have made the record. We couldn't have released it on vinyl if it wasn't for Heirship Records. It would have taken us maybe forever to raise the money, to have someone that go halvesies with you and support it and promote it. And
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Luke.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Matt Mitchell. I'm in Motes. I play guitar and sing and play bass.
All right. But you've been in some other bands before then, right?
Yeah, I was in a band called Rectangle for a bunch of years in Villa Coola.
Already been got.
Oh, yeah. So if you could just take a minute and say what Heirship Records has meant to you.
For Motes, everything. I mean, really, we had played like one show, and Isaac contacted us and wanted to start like hooking us up with shows. Just very enthusiastic about our band from like when we were barely thinking about playing out. And neither of our records would exist in anything like their present form without it. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
My name's Jake Metz. I've been in several bands over the years. I won't go through all of them, but the ones that I was in that were involved with Isaac and Heirship were Total Asshole was the main band that I did through Heirship. And at the same time, I was doing another project called Jorts, and while it was not through Heirship, Isaac booked us several times at various venues. And then over the years, I've also just been involved with various bands that Isaac has had on the label through doing videos for people, live recordings, studio sessions, all that kind of stuff. So
excellent. And so let's hear a little bit about this quadraphonic setup you've got going on here for the Take Care and the Dr. Responsible show that's going on right now. Soon, I mean.
Okay, so I did geek out a little bit here about the quadraphonic sound for the Take Care special release show with Dr. Responsible. So bear with me, I had to ask.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the exact genesis was, but it was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I learned that quadraphonic sound was a thing, and that intrigued me, being a sound engineer. So I started experimenting with it, and I've been doing so. I've done mostly like art shows up till now. I've done my own performance in quad and ambient and sound design. I've done some yoga classes in quad. I've done some installation work, and this is actually the first time I've done a rock band in quad. Luke of Take Care reached out to me and said they wanted to do a concert in the round. Asked if I could do live sound, and I said, in the round, cool, let's do quadraphonic. And he was like, I didn't know that's what we could do. So he was like, I just wanted to have people standing around us. And I was like, if you're doing that, we have to do quadraphonic. So quadraphonic was, the history of it goes back pretty far, but there's a decent legacy of it starting in like the late 60s and early 70s with modular synthesizers. Right. Particularly Buchla. Buchla had some quadraphonic modules, and Suzanne Ciani was a big pioneer of quadraphonic sound performance. So we're set up here with the whole band in the center of the room. We've been here since about 10 in the morning at this point. So this is hour 11, I guess. So everyone's set up in the middle, and the band, it's nice for the band because they are all looking at each other, and all their amps are kind of facing inward, so they get a real nice vibe off of each other. I mean, it's going to be loud. It's rock. It's a rock show, and then Take Care is a loud band. There's quieter moments, but on the whole, Take Care is quite a loud band. But it's really nice for them to have that visual communication. So there's going to be a large amount of sound coming out of the center of the room, and what I'm attempting to do with the quadraphonic sound around it is provide ambience and space. So the quad feel is going to probably dissolve during the more intense moments. What you'll mostly get is like bass and drums feeling really big from the quad, and the guitars feeling a bit bigger. But then when they get to the more ambient moments, there'll be some movement of parts around the space, and you'll hear a bit more in the vocals and the keys dissolving out into the quad space through quadraphonic reverbs. And
sounds amazing. Well, I can see you're busy here.
Bryce Hayes, been in Withershins, Marathon, and played solo as Dr. Responsible.
Excellent. So what has Heirship Records meant to you?
I guess it's meant a lot because it's meant a lot for the community, right? Being in Withershins alongside Isaac, I was obviously very close to that side of it, right? But also, Isaac helped to put out my first and only solo tape as Dr. Responsible. It was a huge help because they had way more of a reach than I could have on my own. Because I've spent so much time kind of fostering a personality and a community. It's also been great because it's given I guess so. I've always thought of, maybe because Isaac sort of described Heirship as a snapshot of the CU music scene in a specific space and time, right?
Right.
And I think that's been really cool because it's allowed such a diverse group of individuals and musicians and artists to sort of be showcased under one collective umbrella. So in that regard, there's something for everybody in Heirship. If you like just straight up, pound you in the face rock music, it's there. If you like kind of weird off the wall sounds, that's there too. If you like hip hop, that's there. But also, it's just meant a lot to see just the dedication that Isaac put into the community through Heirship. Right? They didn't have to do that. And it was at a detriment, honestly, in some ways. I mean, financially, stress-wise. But it was all for the betterment of a community of people creating art for other people, and I think that's really great.
Excellent. And I know you've got to go on, so please have a great show. Break a leg.
Cheers. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sure.
State your name and bands you've been in.
My name is Nick Foreman. I play in Take Care.
Excellent. And so what has Heirship Records meant to you?
I've known Isaac for a long time, and they've always been a very important member of this music community long before they formed Heirship even. I've always been impressed with their songmanship and songwriting. Watching them play as a front person in Withershins is always very interesting, inspiring. And then when they founded Heirship, it was so cool. It seemed like the right move. And when they approached us to put out this final album that we're doing, the final Heirship album, it was just the right fit. We didn't know what we were going to do with the album, how we were going to release it. And then when Isaac approached us, it was like, of course, and it's been a joy and an honor to be, on Heirship. And Isaac has been so helpful and beneficial to this album finishing and its completion.
Excellent. And it's a great album. I got I've had a few sneak peeks, or sneak listens, whatever. But thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Daab, Hot Cops on Heirship.
No, well, it doesn't any bands in the CU because
a few others too. Waterfowl.
All right. And so, what has Heirship Records meant to you?
Heirship has been just the place for local music I've been really into over the last however long Isaac's been doing it, basically, and just a lot of like-minded, but then also, there's a lot of variety on the label too. Just represented the scene well. Yeah, I don't know.
Awesome. All right.
It's everything a local label should be, right?
Exactly.
I'm Veronica Mullen. I play in a band called Ghoul, Jr., as well as another band called Power of Dusk. And Heirship Records has actually gotten me into a lot of local bands, I would say. I first came to town, and not long after hearing about local shows, I found out that Isaac was the one booking a lot of them at the time. So that kind of introduced me to a lot of the local scene in general, just shows that happen. And I later came to find out that Isaac also had a label as well, and there were a bunch of bands on it too. And I think it really it gives local musicians, or some local musicians, a platform to release a physical copy of their music that they probably wouldn't be able to do otherwise. I think that's really cool. And and I feel like that's not a super common thing here in town.
Right.
So I think it's pretty cool that Isaac was doing that for such a long time, and Isaac supported a lot of really good bands that I ended up listening to and liking a lot. I think that was a really cool thing. I don't know. Yeah, I think just the exposure was really important to me, and that helped me learn about a lot of new bands. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're Take Care from Champaign. We started writing this album 10 years ago. There definitely wasn't carton milk. We fucking wrote this album.
Scott Kimble, bass player, Terminus Victor, from 99 to present. I was in Hush Tower from 93 to 99. I've been in bands intermittently, bands like Little Black Spiders, which is actually, we're doing stuff again. Anyway, and as far as I met Isaac at a show in 2009 at Mike and Molly's, and through a friend, and Withershins had already been going for a while, and so I think that started coming to our shows, and we actually became more of more acquaintances after that. And then I think that I'm not really sure how it actually came to fruition, but at some point, Heirship was really just a vehicle for Evil Tents and Withershins and Evil Tents and things like that. But I think when we kind of struck up when I gave the recordings for the new record, the Prevention versus Intervention, he asked me if we'd want to be on the label, and I think it was just came to shows and was interested, and we struck up a narrative from there, and we just remained friends from there. That's the way it works everywhere, right? You just you get to know people, and you work with people, and you start, and then things happen from there. But that's pretty much what happened. Such an ambitious person, and I just admire him. So.
Yeah. And so, would you say how would you say Heirship Records means to you?
Well, it means everything to me. We would have been putting that record out ourselves, but I mean, in which that is something we would do anyway. But talk about integrity. Talk about, if you want to go down that route. Heirship, to me, when I think of Heirship as a whole, from a distance, when I step back, I put it up there with Touch and Go Records, or I put it up there with, it's smaller scale, of course, but the same amount of integrity was put into it, and also too, the one thing that I do like about is that there's a lot of variation. Certain labels. But it's not too far off. It's still still there's some variation, but there still is some common ground, right?
Yeah.
So I just have a lot of respect for artists. Just let them. You have to let them be themselves, right?
Yeah. Let artists be artists.
Right. Yeah. And so in that sense, it meant the world to me. It still means the world to me. The label still exists, even though it's not even going to put anything out anymore. It's
right.
Things are still available.
Yeah.
And also too, you can actually pursue bands individually and just buy them. There's plenty of ways to really brought a lot of things together in this community, I think.
Well, excellent. Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate it. State your name.
Seth Fein.
And what bands have you been in?
I performed in a band called Absinthe Blind and a band called Headlights.
All right.
If you're asking me about Isaac and what they've meant to me and what Heirship has accomplished.
Yeah.
I met Isaac when they moved to Champaign in 2005 at a show they were putting on at the Red Herring. While I was putting on a show at the Canopy Club, and I met them, and they were with their current partner, and we ended up in an argument because Isaac's partner told me that their cat was a vegan, and I had just recently been dating a vet med student, and I knew, felines are obligate carnivores.
Yeah.
Like, you can't make your cat a vegan. I'm so sorry. Dog, might get away with it, but you can make a cat go blind. I mean, it's like abusive. So we got into an argument about veganism and feline nature. That was how we met, and we were buddies from the start. It wasn't like a serious fight. It was a good spar, Yeah. And Isaac and I started promoting shows in this town about the same time, and always shared a deep mutual respect for the type of music that we were into, and so we shared a lot about shoegaze early on, and that was a big deal for me because it's not like shoegaze was all that popular ever. It's had like a little bit of a revival now, but. So that was really exciting to meet another promoter who's totally into shoegaze.
Yeah.
And then as over the course of time, and they were in different bands. Obviously, Withershins being the primary project there, amongst others. The two of us started putting on shows together, and that came to the most fruition when I hired them to book Mike and Molly's in an official capacity. They were putting on shows there for quite some time, and I was putting on shows there for quite some time, and then I took over the calendar at Mike and Molly's and realized right away that I needed help. Isaac stepped up, and they did just an awesome job. I mean, for like 5-6 years, the calendar at Mike and Molly's was always so well programmed, and during that time, Heirship, came to life. They had a prior label. It's escaping me. Do you remember the name of it? Arms.
Well, it was like Pop Monster.
The Pop Monster. That's what it was. Yeah, Pop Monster. But and watching Isaac develop Heirship and seeing the bands that they were signing, it was exciting for me in particular because I was so deeply embedded into the music industry part of Champaign-Urbana, and put out such a wide array of great releases, and Isaac went out of their way to put bands on tour and help with PR and that type of emotion and commitment to this sort of craft it's dwindling, and it continues to dwindle, and it's just the nature of where we are as a culture, not just in Champaign-Urbana, but nationwide and maybe worldwide. But that Isaac would spend their 20s and 30s committed to that. They're now legacy in Champaign-Urbana, and that's really amazing.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. That's great.
Hey, this is Vivian McConnell.
And bands that you've been in?
I've been in bands called Santa and Grandkids and VV Lightbody.
All right. And so what would you say Heirship Records has meant to you?
Heirship, specifically to Grandkids, is incredibly important, although I realize it's helped me in my whole musical career, which is amazing. But when Grandkids was a pretty young band, we put in a lot of time and effort to record our debut full-length called Timeshare. And Isaac from Heirship teamed up with a smaller local record label from Lafayette, Indiana, called Jurassic Pop. Yeah. And so they collaborated and released that for us, and that was just kind of the first time. I don't know. It just felt like kind of like a team, and then, further down the line, everybody was so supportive the whole time. Isaac's always sharing our events, always promoting us, always just like being super honest and like helping the artists create. And then, we were worried that we weren't going to find a way to release our newest record, This Guitars, and we went to Isaac and listened to it and, put it out. And he's just like, it means the world. I'm actually feeling quite reflective and emotional about it right now, And also because in the Canopy Club is where Grandkids played our first show ever, right here on this small stage. So I'm like nostalgia, nation right now. So
my name's Neil Yeager. I've been currently in Sunwise, Withershins. Before that, I was in a band called Johnny York and some other stuff that nobody knows about.
Awesome. So, I mean, if what Heirship Records has meant to you is like too big of a question, then if you want to just say like how you met Isaac and how you got involved with just recording with Withershins. I think of that as like the start of it. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking of that as the start of it all kind of thing. But
yeah, I mean it's all that stuff's related. So I met Isaac to start the band, Withershins. Yeah. We answered an ad. We being me and Colin, like on openingbands.com.
Really?
And we met in a garage and we bonded pretty quickly and shared a lot of interests, and it's been a huge influence in my life. We've done so much together that it's just sometimes when I sit back and think about all the things we've accomplished, it's like mind-boggling, so like what does Heirship or what does Isaac mean to me? I couldn't necessarily even put it into words because it's just been so much. It's like it's incomprehensible to me.
That's that actually kind of sums it up. Incomprehensible, right?
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Excellent.
Kurt Bielema. The bands that I was in was like over a decade ago, but I played with Angie Heaton and the Gentle Tamers, June and the Exit Wounds, some lesser known groups, and most recently I'm just doing my own music under my own name, so eponymous.
Excellent. Yeah. So, like, if you could sum it up in one... No, I won't do that to you. But, can you... this should be an easy question, right? But, so if there was a way for you to, like, sum up what, Heirship Records has meant to you, like, or even what it's meant to, like, your own releasing work and that kind of thing.
Well, I'll tell you, the simplest answer is I was a fan before I was a member. I was a fan of Heirship Records and the groups that were on Heirship Records, like long before I knew Isaac, and then like the opportunity to be on the label, because I think like Heirship Records, what they were doing in town, Isaac as a person, great resource for music, and really like finding groups that everyone should hear, and but also like putting like so much heart and soul into like supporting the music scene. Like in my experience, I haven't known that type of person, and I was really happy to be a part of it. For when I was. So.
Very cool. Well, thank you for the interview. I appreciate it.
Sure.
I am Klevah of Mother Nature. Also a member of the Great Thinkers. That's my set.
Anything like what Heirship Records has meant to you?
Yeah, man. Heirship Records means really a lot to the Great Thinkers. First and foremost, before Mother Nature even existed, before I was putting out solo music or anything like that, we met Isaac as the Great Thinkers and was really supportive of Jay Moses, his career, really supportive of Great Sky. Heirship is a friend. Yeah. And then when it came time, when we came around to Mother Nature coming into existence and us having this really, really dope project, Isaac was the first friend who was like, yo, I can support and I can elevate, and it really is, it just is what it is, There was no, no hidden agendas or anything like that. It was just genuine partnership, and that's what Heirship is to us still to this day. So
I also feel like never, I don't know, offer to help or like be part of that unless he really loved the music.
Really loves the music.
Out,
yeah,
so.
Always featured us on all of the Heirship projects and the shows. I mean, it's just been an abundance of love coming from Heirship and from Isaac. So
excellent.
He's a staple.
Well, we've made it to the end of the bonus episode, and I'd like to thank all of the people that agreed to be interviewed and share their stories and talk about Heirship Records and Isaac. Be sure to go back and check out episode 8, where I interview Isaac Arms about their song, Fireflies. Thank you for listening to Champaign is Also a Band podcast. This is Sven, reminding you, great music is out there. Go find it where you live.
You almost have an NPR voice. It's so good.
Studio South Yeager on the inside.